Today I'm going to talk about a program that I implemented at the end of last year. It's not the first time I've done it. I did it about, 6 or so years ago for about 6 months. And then I brought it back because there was a need and there was an opportunity. So need meets opportunity and voila. And the need was, or at least the program, I brought it back into the school because 2 children needed it. And I've got a philosophy at the school, and it kind of stems from our personal experience. When you isolate a kid away from their peers, what you're telling them is there's something wrong and you need to be taken away and something's off. And you're not actually saying that. You're just saying, hi, let's go do something fun. And the OT comes into the class and takes the kid away. And I first noticed it when I started looking at remedial schools back 15 years ago, where I walked through a school and I was watching this teacher do this incredibly fun lesson with these 6 or 7 kids. The OT walked behind me into the class and let's call Little Johnny. Little Johnny, it's your time to come with me. And as enthusiastic as the OT was, you could see this, what? What's wrong with me that you're pulling me away? So I keep that in mind. That story is strong for me. So when I implement something at the school, I implement it for everybody, not for one. So that's why we have judo and drumming and movement and breath work and drama, because they are individual people who would really benefit from those from a therapeutic point of view, of therapeutic support. But it would be terrible to pull 2 people out and go, yeah, off you go to drama. And they go, why just us? Because they're human beings. They've got these questions. And just because they don't have the words to ask why us, you cannot assume that they're not thinking it. And in fact, you can assume that they are thinking it. So I've got a little boy who we found out, or through just chatting and trying to figure out why he was not thriving, physically, emotionally, socially, academically, just not even not thriving, just almost regressing. Through getting really curious, that's really important for us, and observing, we realized he was eating no protein. And this is a big deal, especially now with the prevalence of autism at the moment. There's this observation that I've had and others have had that many children on the autism spectrum have a very limited diet and the gut health, and we can talk about that some other time. But here's this little boy and he's really not going anywhere. And when you're not going anywhere, you're actually going backwards. And we realize he's not eating any protein. Okay, fine. Chat to the mom. The mom's, I'm trying. He just won't do it. And it's important to have this little separate thing that I'm about to say now is sometimes the teacher can get it right and the mom can't, not because the teacher's any better, but just because she's not the mom. So we all check our egos at the door when we come in to work with children, because we've got to say, I'm not the right person. Who else is the right person in service of the child? It's very important. So here's this little boy and the mom's going, I can't get it done. Best I can do is Pro-Nutra at night for dinner. Pro-Nutra at night for dinner. And he's got learning delays. And he's struggling physically. And now he doesn't have enough food. What we noticed in the past is when he was having a particularly bad day, we're still not completely sure, chicken or egg-wise, it's because he didn't have breakfast that he's really struggling emotionally, or he's struggling emotionally, which is causing him to not want to eat. But there was a massive link between him staying in his dysregulation and refusing eating and not having eaten, and almost like this learned helplessness or lack of self-help. Okay, so how do we get past learned helplessness and lack of self-help? Well, the kids, they can't get themselves out of it. First of all, they're a kid, and I don't think adults can do it either. We need somebody to go, I'm stuck in the well, please put the ladder here and maybe hold my hand as well, because I can't get out of the mud myself. As a school, we have quite a big role to play with children, but we're also limited. I can't put your child to sleep. I don't want to put your child to sleep. That's your job. Your job to give him dinner. But what can I do? Then we have a little girl who was refusing to eat. Maybe one tiny bite of a little strawberry. The whole day she's at school for 6 hours. Sometimes aftercare as well. Now she's at school for, 8, 10 hours? Tiny bite of strawberry. So both of these kids, I'm looking at them and for very different reasons. And I'm worried about the girl because in my personal life, I have eating disorders in my family. So I was looking at that and I thought, we're looking down the barrel of disordered eating. We need to solve this. And engaging with the parents, they had the same thing with both kids. They just won't. We just can't. And parents, and I had the same thing myself, but we're giving them expensive lunches that comes home and the lunch isn't eaten. I get that. And we put beautiful dinner on the table and she refuses to eat. So then where does a parent go with that? Must they stop feeding their kid because it's a waste of money? Must they keep giving the food? And then, of course, we start at a lower level of intervention and we say, well, try a different food, or let's try getting everybody around the table to eat at the same time. And we do these sort of lower level interventions before we have to get bigger. And then ultimately the kids eat pizza, white bread, muffins, chocolates, chips. Where's the protein? Where is even the good stuff, the healthy stuff that their bodies thrive on? So now we've got a kid who's now we've got an ADHD diagnosis, or we're thinking inattention, and now anxiety, and we've got all of these big things, but maybe I don't have enough energy. Maybe my muscles aren't strong enough. So because we weren't getting it right and the parents weren't getting it right, my next question is, now what else can I do? And then I looked at the rest of the kids and I thought, let's bring back lunch. So I don't have it in my budget. Let's chat to all the parents and see if they're prepared to spend, I think at the moment we're on 40 Rand a day. And if you go back to like how much wasted food is, it's 40, if not more, 40, 50, especially if you're going to a place like Woolworths or something like that, and then your kid's not eating it anyway. So $40 a day, I get full buy-in. Great. I spoke about opportunities come together, and OMATA stands for opportunities multiply as they are seized. So at the same time of thinking about this, I ran into someone who's looking to they're providing lunches for their own school and they want to expand. And they're 1 block away from where my school is. Okay, let's start this. So we started. But I like to say I kill 5 birds with 1 stone. I've been told I should feed them with 1 seed and not kill them with 1 stone. But either way, 5 birds, these kids do not have the luxury of time. We cannot put them in a classroom and only teach them maths for the next half an hour. We also have to develop their gross motor skills and their bilateral integration and their midline crossing all at the same time. Otherwise, we're just not going to get there. They're going to be 50 and we're still on grade 2. Okay, I'm hyperbole. But we've got to do more than one thing at a time. So now I'm thinking, great, lunch. Okay, let's feed everybody. This is good. And not only is it good for these 2 kids who aren't eating, it's for the other kids who aren't eating that I'm not as worried about, but they're going to get it. We decide we're going to do, I think it's 40 grams of protein per meal. It's a balanced meal. So you get spaghetti bolognese. It's a typical kind of home-cooked meal. It's not KFC. It's not McDonald's. It's home-cooked. And not only that, it's run by proper chefs. So they're not putting salt in. You can add salt if you want. They're starting it off with a mirepoix base, which is carrots, celery, garlic, and onion, which gives it flavor, and then the kids can put salt afterwards, and there's a whole another benefit level to that as well. So now I've got, 2 kids, I can help you, great. The rest, that's 1 bird. The rest, the kids are going to have a nice balanced meal. Right. What's the 3rd bird? A bunch of children who eat really well, eat really fast, or don't eat because they don't want to miss out on play. Okay, so now we've got to serve the lunch, like we would do dinner, on a plate around a table. I like the idea of community table because now we've got a whole lot of kids and they're sitting down, and now I'm role modeling for them what a family dinner should feel like. So now I'm kind of in service of the family because I'm giving the kid an experience of we start now, we end now, we sit down, knife and fork. So I'll talk into how the OT feeds into this as well. But it's bilateral work. Got a lot of kids who've got sensory things and won't mix foods. We've achieved the mixing of foods now because my friend mixes foods, and I look at her and I might not say anything. Nothing really gets said, but my friend's mixing. Maybe I should try it. So these tiny little wins of making a child's world bigger rather than smaller by sitting at a table. So the kids, the tables are outside. Oh, imagine that. Imagine having lunch where you just take downtime for 15 minutes. How many adults do this? We have lunch on the go. So these kids that come to my school, 15 minutes every day, they sit and they don't have to work. And they're not playing, they're just sitting. And there's stools underneath their feet. So OTs will love this because there's 90-degree angle with their ankle, with their knee, with their hip. So they love this, the posture of the child. So it's developing those skills. There's a plate. I'm not scoffing it down. It's balanced. It's not overly flavored. There's no preservatives in there. And in fact, this year we added a homemade bone broth to ramp up protein and amino acids for these kids in an attempt to facilitate good gut health as well. We have got some kids who don't come to the table. That's okay for now, because this is not a you will sit and you will eat. This is an opportunity for kids to get closer to something that is healthy. If we put a TV in the room, who was it that did the screen in the wall experiment? Gata Mitra. He did a screen in the wall because he thought, I wonder if impoverished kids who don't have access to screens if they will learn easily. And apparently within an hour, they had sussed it all out. So kids gravitate towards things that are curious and interesting. So make it curious and interesting. So we've got these tables outside. It's under the trees. It's like the next best thing would be on a field or in a vineyard, right? But they're under the trees. They serve their meal. Everybody sits down. And I'm working with an occupational therapist who does something called SOS feeding. And it's about improving how children take on nutrition and how, and specifically their oral praxis skills, they're biting and chewing. And in fact, I'm going to take you back a couple of months to a little boy who we felt his speech was not very good, and he wasn't seeing a speech therapist. But my OT talked about let's see how he chews and how he eats, because I've got this SOS feeding training. Let's see what this is all about. And she brought me my awareness to this. When a child looks at a carrot and goes, "I don't like it," that might not actually be the truth. That's just the language that they've got. They might be actually trying to tell you, "I don't know how to eat that carrot." So this particular little boy, we realized he doesn't know how to eat a carrot. His body had not figured out, his tongue could not move a little bit of carrot to the back of his mouth so he could crunch it. So he's trying to eat the carrot like a bunny with his front teeth. Not a chance. There's no way you're sucking the carrot? How does this work? So eventually you just go, "I don't like carrots," because it's too hard. So she worked with him individually, and we increased his range of foods he was prepared to eat. And then he started growing because he was not growing. I mean, that's just remarkable. So that kind of prompted all of this. And then we go back to the beginning of the story, and now we're at this lunch program. Now we're going to our third term of running this. But the other benefits have been huge. It's the bilateral integration. It's crossing the midline. It's all the sensory stuff with food. It's increased protein. The social dynamic has been interesting. So we had little pockets of kids sitting together that maybe shouldn't have sat together. So then we decide, okay, let's make an art activity. Let's create placemats for themselves, and we as teachers can sort of control how this is working. We had a little girl who really struggles to eat, and she eats with her mouth open because her nose is often blocked, and the boys were being quite rude to her. So our approach is not, "Oh, stop it and move away." Our approach is, okay, so I see this, you're noticing this, and I see your comment, and I can see how you would feel that way. Definitely, I mean, all feelings are valid. But is there another way we can handle this? And because they're young 9-year-old boys, they weren't good at handling it, but we gave them a lesson, and then we moved them away. And now, with the work that we've been doing with her, she doesn't eat like that as much anymore, and they aren't bothered as much anymore. And guess what? We've got 2 kids that have benefited greatly from this little interaction. So they're sitting properly on the chairs, knife and fork. Actually, probably at the moment it's fork and spoon, or spoon and fork, because there's a couple of kids that really shouldn't have knives yet. We're getting there. And all of this, and there's more I'm probably not even talking about at this stage. Oh, wait, let me add. If we acknowledge that the child's thoughts and feelings are valid, then we will not behave in a way that forces the child to sit at a table that they're not ready to sit at. So this occupational therapist taught me this because she spoke about feeding in the sense that if a child won't eat a certain food, let's say, I don't know, yogurt, the first thing you want to do is, can they be in the same room as the yogurt? And it might sound crazy, but actually there's some kids that are out of here. I'm out of here. I'm not interested. I can't. It's too gross. Or whatever the food might be. So you want to just slowly, it's almost like immersion therapy to some extent. Slowly get the food closer. So then it's, can I tolerate the food on the table away from me? Then can I tolerate the food on the table near me, but not necessarily in front of me? And then in front of me. And then can I sniff it? No, now it's getting really close. Can I touch it? Can I put it on my elbow? Can I put it on my shoulder? So this whole protocol on helping children to get, I want to say get over their fear, but it's actually finding a tolerance for something that's healthy for them. Because these are kids that are eating incredibly unhealthy food, and it's exacerbating ADHD symptoms. It's exacerbating poor sleep. It's making everything worse. So we want good nutrition, and we don't want to put an IV drip in them, and we don't want to force feed them. We want them to be, what kind of 25-year-old do we want them to be? We want a 25-year-old that lives a healthy life, and they can't be avoiding healthy foods if that hasn't been addressed. So many of our children, I would say at least 3, one in particular, the parents actually didn't sign him up for the program. Doesn't matter. We're still working on this. And he would literally go and sit in the furthest classroom he could find during lunch. Doesn't want to be anywhere near it. Doesn't want to smell it. Doesn't want to know it. Don't talk to me about it. In fact, he even stopped eating his own lunch because it was just too much. And now it's taken 2 terms, but I think patience is really important when it comes to kids because forcing doesn't work. I always say you can't stand at the top of the hill while the kid's at the bottom of the hill and yell at them to come up to the top. You got to go to the bottom. But there's another thing you can't do is drag him up and then call it mountain climbing. He hasn't mountain climbed. He's been dragged up the hill. So we want this boy to be able to access food that is healthy for him on his own. So we need to give him those skills on his own, not I dragged you here and I made you sit. So it's taken 2 terms. He's still not eating our food, which is fine, or at least the food that we provide, but he's prepared to sit at a side table with 2 other children eating the lunch food and his lunchbox in front of him. And I don't know if I'm right or not, but he might have had some of his lunch at some point. So he might actually be participating in the eating. But if you think where we came from, and at home they're saying he just refuses so much food, and we're very worried about his health. So the lunch program, if I go back to it, this is what we do as a school, is we identify this kid really needs this low-level intervention not working. How do we ramp it up? And at what point do we need to get everybody involved? Because when you don't want to eat and all your friends are around the table and a timer has been put up for 15 minutes, so we understand that this will end. It's okay. I'm not going to have to sit here until midnight tonight. At the end of 15 minutes, I will be released. And for the kids who eat well, I'm telling them, don't worry, you'll get your break. At the end of 15 minutes, everyone will get a break. So everyone has this structure. So I'm always with structure and flexibility have got to go together. So we've got the timer, we've got the meal. They don't get to choose what meal they have. This is it. If you don't like it, oh, okay, now you know. Do you know why? So it's not, oh, don't be silly, carry on eating, not force feeding. We start with small portions. You can come back for seconds. With the particular girl that was struggling to eat and not eating at all, she at the moment is coming back for fifths. She's not eating the lunch that her mom packs her, that she's historically packed her because it doesn't have enough protein in it. She's eating so much protein now. So after these school holidays, I'm really interested to see where she's at because it's just elevated her tolerance levels as well. So a small 15-minute non-invasive intervention. And we took that time away from maths in order to solve the lunch problem. But the lunch problem solves the maths problem. Because we're empowering children, we're listening to them, we're hearing them, we're giving them a voice. So when we ask them to do the hard maths, they have an experience of empowerment and motivation and listening to their voice, and they're more likely to try the maths. So the shift from maths to lunch for now has been a remarkable difference. It's quite phenomenal what we can do when we sit back, observe, think, and think beyond, perhaps think in a spider web in a way, and try and feed 5 birds with 1 seed. So that's where I want to leave it today.